I believe we are live, Hugh. Welcome
Awesome.
to
Thank
Virtual
you very much.
Coffee on your property VA, Hugh Kawabe from Promote Digital, here to have a chat with us about the cool and wonderful space of Facebook ads. And seeing we're in Facebook land, it's probably appropriate that we're talking about Facebook. So welcome, Hugh, and cheers to coffee. We've just been
Cheers.
talking about you not actually having coffee, but you're having a
Yeah,
water fast. Hold on, I'm
water
just gonna
fast,
see
indeed.
because most people are on Facebook land and they will be commenting. So
Awesome.
let me zoom out. For some reason, my Facebook's doing funny little things. And
I love your background.
thank you. It's my office.
I wish I had like, I wish I could do like a proper background, but like I can't.
You
It's kind of
can
annoying.
if you do it against your white wall. Um,
Yeah,
that's
actually,
all.
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's the white wall,
Just
and
can't be stuff moving my table and stuff.
yes,
Like,
yes, you gotta get with the program.
I know.
All
I'm
good.
looking back on all your kind of the ones that you've done, and everyone kind of has like a background, like the one that you
Yes,
did previously.
yes, yeah. It's all about the background. It's all about giving
Absolutely.
giving the image of being traveling around the world. I've got,
That's it.
and then on Fridays, my kids have dinosaurs and
Oh,
lollies
really?
and ice cream. Yeah, so that's Friday background. So excellent. Let's dive into I guess what first of all, what it is that you do and your background with Facebook ads and Google ads, and what Promote Digital does to start off with.
Absolutely. So I am a Facebook technician, but I've been working in that space for a few years now.
Mm,
And now I've kind of gone out. I've got very lucky with my mentors. They taught me everything about not only Facebook ads, but they taught me everything about account management, project management, sales, and just a whole lot, Google Ads, SEO. And so they really helped me for a few years. And now I'm kind of doing my own thing with Promote Digital, and we're really helping small to medium-sized business owners with just advertising in general and finding the best kind of solution for them. But
mm.
having that kind of Facebook technician background, I do love running Facebook ads. And so when any kind of person comes to me and they want Facebook ads, I get really excited. So
That's
yeah.
that's that's cool. So we've got Sean who says, "Good morning, guys. Morning, Sean. I hope you've got
Morning.
your coffee too, nice and warm. Well, hopefully keeping nice and warm in Victoria." Um, so Facebook ads, it is so powerful, yet for the everyday person, it is like brain surgery, right?
Yeah.
Why is it so powerful yet so complex for most people? It's not like you're just printing out an ad and it's just popping it up.
Mm, absolutely. I mean, it's the world's biggest social media platform. And so obviously it's super powerful because there's so many users on the platform every single day. I think it was like 2.6 billion, 2.6 billion active users a day, something like that, which is incredible.
Mm,
And the reason why it's so powerful is there's so many people that you can target ads to, but there are so many complications to that as well. Obviously, you want to make sure that when you run advertisements, that the traffic is going to be good quality. You don't want to be spending time calling these prospects through your ads if they're just going to waste your time. So you got to
mm,
make sure that your targeting's right. You got to make sure that your ad copy talks about your business and gets them interested enough to actually book in a call with you.
mm,
Obviously, engaging visuals as well. Do something different as well, especially if you're in a saturated space like digital marketing. Create new, different kind of ideas and trial and error different things. And it, you got to make sure that obviously when you run ads, they're profitable. And to do that, there are obviously a lot of complications. So that's
yeah.
why it can get a bit difficult.
And so, but it is also a very cost-effective way to market. Like, I mean, compared to traditional print media, or I can't even think of the traditional ways to market
Mm.
now. Like, from your experience and what you've seen, like how much more effective is it to and more costly? Cost effective is it compared to the old way of marketing?
It is very cost effective, and it does sometimes it does take a bit of time. Obviously, as I said, I mean, there's so many different kind of ways of advertising on Facebook. You got to make sure that everything's kind of perfect, and you build the systems and processes. And then once you do that, whether it takes a month of data collection, 2 months, 3 months, then after that, it's self-effective because all you do is you pour money into it and you get consistent and stable results.
Mm.
And so that's why it's so effective. In terms of print media and the other forms of advertisements, obviously radio advertising, that it's just so expensive. And
Mm.
sometimes it does work, but it's such an expensive way of advertising. And a lot of small to medium-sized business owners, they just don't have that that money to invest into those kind of old traditional forms of advertising. And even with things like Google advertising and SEO, Google advertising, got to do cost per click. And again, if you're in a saturated kind of industry, the cost per click can be ridiculous sometimes.
Mm.
So you got to make sure that you have a banging website that converts highly. And then for SEO, it takes 3 to 6 months, sometimes even 12 months to even get yourself on page one. So Facebook advertising is so effective because not only is it cheap, but you can make it work basically if you
Mm.
do the systems and processes. And it's, yeah, you can get super cheap leads, and if you're good at sales, then you can convert them and make huge profit.
Yeah, excellent. And what I love about Facebook ads is, and you highlighted this a little bit about, is that you can tweak it. Like if something's not working, you can tweak it as opposed to traditional print media or, like I said, radio or
That's a
anything.
good
You've
point.
got one chance
That's a
and
good
that's
point.
it, you know. Whereas you can have one campaign, but you can have all these different ad sets to be able, you know, I'll tweak the image, I'll tweak the copy, I'll tweak this and this and this. Um, Whereas you wouldn't have that opportunity for other forms. But in saying that, I mean, I think what I find a lot of people will say is like someone's doing Facebook ads, it's almost like chucking something on the wall and seeing what sticks. Is it a little bit like that?
It, it can be a little bit like that. And so when it comes to, I guess, small business owners who don't know anything about Facebook,
Mm,
it is effective that you work with someone in digital marketing or a Facebook technician or specialist. Therefore, they kind of have that experience already working with people in your industry to see what works, see what doesn't work.
mm,
So yeah, that's why it's so effective working with someone in the space, because it
mm.
can be hard. Obviously, if they're completely new to Facebook, they've never run ads before, just thinking of ideas alone is difficult, and then seeing what works and what doesn't can take months or even years.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so say let's start off with someone, and you know we work with a lot of businesses, and some of them might not even have much traffic on their Facebook page itself.
Mm.
All right. What is the sort of the process that you would take someone who is, I'll just say, for want of a better word, a Facebook virgin, where they have
Yeah.
no ads. There's not a lot of traffic on their Facebook page. They don't have a lot of likes as well, but they're wanting to grow their brand and more engagement. What are the first things that you get them to do to start off with?
Absolutely. So first, in terms of, is this in terms of running Facebook ads or also like organic posting and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, let's start with organic to begin with,
Yeah.
and then Facebook ads, because you've obviously got to be able to have a good balance of both.
Absolutely. And this is something interesting because I don't focus so much on organic posting. Obviously, I know a fair bit about it, but I think you're actually, what you're doing is incredible in the amount of audience that you've been able to accumulate
Oh,
through,
thank
I
you.
assume, organic posting is incredible. So I think in terms of organic posting, it'd be interesting if you actually told that stuff. And then in terms of Facebook advertising, I mean, I've got to know about their business. So I've, like I did with you, I mean, I chat to them for 30 minutes to an hour, understand everything they want to achieve with Facebook ads, the kind of problems they're facing, understand their target market, and then see what kind of tone they want in their copy,
Mm,
in terms of the visuals as well, see what they're comfortable with posting, think of ideas, strategize a bit. If they're comfortable with hopping on video as well, then that can be really, really effective nowadays. And then obviously running that, if they've never done anything, if they've never run ads, if they don't have many likes, they don't have an audience, then we have to collect all that data in the
mm,
first month. or even sometimes it can take a few months. And so that's kind of process for Facebook advertising. In terms of organic posting, I'd love to know on your behalf, because I actually don't do a lot of organic posting myself. For me, I like just spend money, get money back. But I'd be interested to actually know from your perspective, like, how is organic posting for you, and how long has it taken, and what was the kind of process for you?
Yeah, yeah. And so we've got an army of people that just invite everyone. No, it is, like you said, for us, it's a lot of ensuring that we're releasing good content. And and that's why sort of the Facebook ads and what we release sort of organically work well, because not only are we then getting people on the page, then they stay for longer because there's good value.
Mm,
And this is what we tell our clients as well, like, it's not just about paying for likes or whichever. Once they land on your page, you have to be delivering content. You have to
absolutely.
be delivering value. And this is what what I love about virtual coffee as well, is having guests, subject matter experts like you, and the other entrepreneurs who are doing great things to help other businesses and people grow. And that's why um, it's that kind of value that we like to deliver on our page, which thankfully has helped with our organic growth as well. And actually, we spent most of our time doing that organically, and then looking at, all right, what is it that people are responding to in general, and then doing boost or Facebook ads from that aspect. So I guess
Absolutely.
from your side, and that's why I guess it's a really powerful sort of partnership between Facebook ads and organic. Like
Absolutely.
you have to do both.
Mm,
Um, Understanding that it does take time to create that engagement and
mm.
that crowd. Whereas obviously with Facebook ads,
It's
you
like
pay,
bang.
you
Yeah.
pay, and if you're doing the right thing, like you said, you can spend a lot of money and it all goes down the drain. Um, or if you know what you're doing, then it's a very effective way of
Mm,
advertising. So I guess, say for example, if we take uh, with we're a small business who is deciding that, all right, I've set up my Facebook page, don't really have a lot of likes on there to begin with. Would you say to start off with that they have a Facebook likes campaign, or what other sort of campaigns would you typically advise, like a newbie,
mm.
in terms of Facebook ads? So if we just focus on paid ads, paid audience, what would that start off being?
It's a good question. A lot of people, when they run Facebook ads, they just want to spend, $2 a day, $3 a day, really
Mm,
minuscule, the absolute minimum. But for an effective campaign to collect enough data in the first month, effectively you want to be spending $500 or $1,000 per month.
mm,
And that way, obviously, when we run the different advertisements that you talked about, we can allocate a budget to each. Therefore, we can get the big enough sample size to analyze the data. What's also effective that you can do, and a lot of business owners actually don't do, is they don't install a Facebook pixel as soon as they get their website up live. And
mm,
Facebook pixel is super important, because what it does is it collects data from your website. And obviously, if customers are going to your website, they're interested about your brand. So what you can do is, if you just install a pixel as soon as you can and collect data over the next 6 months for your website, and then start a Facebook campaign, we can actually target the ads directly to your website traffic. And that's super warm kind of traffic that you're getting. Whereas if you haven't had a pixel and we just install it and then we run ads, you're gonna have to collect that data anyways. So what I like to do if people are hesitant about, I guess, spending money, is sometimes I say, look, install the pixel on your website, get as much traffic through organic methods to your website. That way, you know kind of who's interested, who's not. And then after, let's say, 3 months, 4 months, then let's run a Facebook campaign. And we can actually know that obviously you've already got some data. We can get a tiny bit more, and then we can actually run ads pretty profitably from the get go.
excellent. Okay, Facebook ads 101. What is a pixel? Because for most
Okay.
people, a pixel
Yeah.
is that little square
That's a good point.
thing on
Yeah.
your screen that goes blank when it's not doing the right thing.
Yep. So Pixel, super simple. It's basically like a tracking system. It's basically something that you put on your website, you install on your website. Super simple. If you don't know how to install a Pixel, literally type it in on Google, how to install Facebook Pixel on your website. Takes like 5 minutes, I think. And basically what it does is it tracks everything from website visits to, leads to conversions to add to wish list, add to cart, absolutely everything. So then on Facebook, when you do run ads, you can actually create specific audience groups for the people who have booked in a lead or ordered before or added to cart. And it's a super effective way of obviously sending ads, targeted ads, to really warm traffic.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see your Pixel results?
Awesome. So your Pixel results will be in your Facebook Ads Manager. So that's where you'll be able to see it, or Events Manager, sorry. That's where you'll be able to see all the kind of different tracking events from your Facebook Pixel.
Okay. And that's, you talked about that. So the Business Manager or Ads Manager is where all your Facebook ads are created, right? And um, for the everyday person, again, it looks like brain surgery, because there are so many different, whether it's engagement, whether it's conversions or whichever, right? How do you determine which of these purposes that your ads are for? Because for most people, all they're thinking in their head is, I want new business, I want leads, I want new business, I want it now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So what do you say to them to be able to say, okay, to get to where you want to be? Is it engagements? Is it conversions? Is it likes that they typically should start off with?
Absolutely. It's a really interesting question because it depends on the specific business owner. How much time do they have? I mean, I assume with yourself, how much time do you spend a week? Maybe it's not too much on organic posting and reaching out on Facebook.
Mm. I mean, we obviously have an outsourcing team, so
Gotcha. Okay.
it depends on how often we schedule posts and things like
Yeah.
that. But I personally probably don't spend a lot of time
Awesome.
doing
So
it.
then
It
it
might
depends
seem like
on,
it. It might
yeah,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm here all the time, but no, I don't really.
And that's super awesome. Um, and the fact of the matter is, if they're doing it by themselves and if they don't have, like, let's say the budget to get an outsourcing team, then they're going to have to result in their own time. And so it depends on how much time they have, how much time they're willing to actually invest in Facebook in general. So it really depends on the business owner, but also depends on the industry as well. I mean, if it's a super saturated kind of industry and running Facebook paid ads is you're gonna have heaps of competition. It's gonna take a lot of time
Mm.
to collect data. Then organic posting is the best way to go. But if it's kind of like a niche industry and you have a lucrative offer as well, and you know what you want and you know for the ideal customer, then paid ads is a really effective way of just pretty much getting that customer instantly.
Yeah. And so should people be looking again, how do they determine whether they're looking for like a conversion ad or an engagement ad? And what's the difference between, the two of them? Or are they the same?
Absolutely. So conversion ad is basically if you're wanting like a lead or if you're wanting a sale, if you have an e-commerce product, then you probably want a conversion ad. Whereas if you're wanting, to send the traffic to, let's say, your Facebook page, or if you're just wanting to build your audience, then engagement ads are always the best way to go.
Okay.
But the problem is that if you run engagement ads, you just got to know that a lot of the time, or sometimes, you won't get that sale instantly because obviously you will send them to your website. You'll develop the relationship, which will be really good, but the sale may come, maybe a few weeks or a few months after they actually engage with your post.
Yeah, so it's very much a nurturing type of,
Absolutely.
the intention is to nurture them long term. So we see a lot of these ads which are download this ebook, download this guide, download, right? What are they, and why are so many people doing it, and how effective are they? We call these lead magnets, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's actually really, really funny. Ebooks can work. They're sometimes in the digital marketing space so saturated now, but you can essentially get an ebook lead. If you're doing it effectively, you can get it for like less than $100 per ebook lead. And obviously, if they've gone to the effort of reading the ebook and then putting in their details, then they're going to be a pretty warm lead. But the perk of it is that you can attract people really easily or fairly easily with ebook leads, and they're really effective on the back end to call them afterwards and to actually sell your services. So a lot of mortgage brokers, a lot of property developers, a digital marketing space that's massive as well. Anywhere where there are a lot of misconceptions or things that people don't know about the industry, if you create an ebook talking about the 3 different ways or 3 misconceptions about mortgage brokers or whatever it may be, and then
Mm.
put that out there as a Facebook ad, it's going to trap a lot of people and it's going to interest them. And then obviously you can either get their phone number and then call them straight away, or you can nurture them through, email marketing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing there is to also ensure that people are combining the marketing that they're doing with a good sales strategy as
Absolutely.
well, and that funnel, because it's good enough that you've got a magnet and you're collecting all this data, but then how you are handling them on the sales side,
Exactly.
that's another story in itself. Because I
Exactly
know
right.
I know you and I spoke about this where you had a client who you're sending lots of leads to, but they weren't getting in touch with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a problem. So with things like, and this is where I guess the ability of sales really comes in effective for things like a Facebook lead form. So you can get leads super cheap, right? You can get leads super, super cheap. You can get them for less than $5, and sometimes even $2, $3. And the perk of it, if you're good at sales, if you're comfortable over the phone, is that okay, you may get, let's say for the client that I was recently working with, they had 82 leads. They weren't able to convert any. And the reason was
Ouch.
they just weren't comfortable on the phone, and people would hang up and they'd get really demotivated. They'd take ages to actually respond to the leads. When you do something like a Facebook lead form, you want to make sure that as soon as they kind of, download or sorry, apply for the lead and request a call, that you call them as soon as possible. They just
Mm,
weren't doing that. So first
mm.
of all, just make sure that obviously you're comfortable on the phone. It's a massive perk. And then if you're running a lead form, call them straight away. And it's all you have to do is really just confidently come across as an expert. It's super important that you do that. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to do that. So they weren't able to convert any customers. They are talking to a few over email, but obviously that dynamic is a lot harder and it takes a lot longer to actually convert a customer. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're good at sales, and you're confident about your ability, then obviously you can convert some of those leads, which can make a hugely profitable campaign on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so we, just for example, we do exactly that. We've got a lead magnet, someone downloads it. We have someone in our team that will ring up and say, "Hi, I noticed that you downloaded it, just want to see what piqued your interest." And that has sort of then we make a booking or whichever. And this is something that we help our clients with as well. We nudge nudge. But you're absolutely right. Like and I spoke to this is what I speak to sort of a good friend and coach Tony Meredith about, is that there's so many people that are afraid, are not comfortable, not afraid so much, uncomfortable making those sales calls, and we're losing. And it's not uncommon. It's not a bad thing. It's just recognizing that if that's not a skill that you have, like look at how you can have someone else do it for you, is
Absolutely.
trained to do that. Because that whole sales side of things, again, you can spend all this money on marketing, but then if you get to the sale and you're just like, ah!
Exactly. Exactly
Then it's
right.
a real shame. It's a real waste. So definitely being able to pair it with a good sales strategy. Again, you can nurture them on email, like and that in itself as well. If it's either one or the other, like you mentioned, whether you're calling them or you're popping them in a sales funnel through email campaign, you've got to do one or the other,
Absolutely. Exactly.
and you can't sort of just leave them there wandering, because obviously
That's it.
they're interested enough to download your lead magnet. Whether they've read it or not is another thing.
Yes,
But
that's true.
I'd say, do you have the statistics around that? But the number of people that actually read the ebooks that they, I reckon
That's a
maybe
good question. I honestly,
5%.
from my experience, yeah, it wasn't many. Like I think I've called hundreds of ebook leads, and I think like two people, literally like two people, have said they actually read it, and I was like, that's nice.
Yeah,
Yes, but it's
everyone else downloads the ebook leads, and I always say they think it's like they download the information via osmosis.
yeah,
And I do that as well. Like, I'm always like
yeah,
trigger happy. I'll leave my details here.
yeah,
And that's why, to a certain extent, again, stressing the importance of having that follow up,
yeah, absolutely,
because people might not have read it, but they still want some information. In which
exactly,
case, they're more comfortable speaking to someone about it.
exactly right.
Cool. Alrighty. Let's give our audience. Sean actually on Facebook Land has said, we had an ebook business, but we're way too early. It was about 14 years ago. Wow,
Really got on early.
that was before like Hugh was born. Um, just a few years. Had hard work just to explain to anyone what an ebook was back then.
Mm,
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Like, when you're an early adopter, it is tricky. Um, but I think and that's where you've just got to educate people,
yeah,
and I think Facebook ads, to a certain extent, that's all also a new thing to educate people about, because you do have a lot of people that go, oh, why should I be doing Facebook ads?
yeah,
And oh,
absolutely.
is my audience, and this is another thing, is my audience on Facebook?
Exactly right. Sometimes Facebook isn't actually the best option for you to
Mm,
advertise on. So it's really important that you do know your target audience and where they're looking for you. And if you're in a business, what's a good business? I don't know. Where, like, for example, like I was talking to a lawyer before, and they wanted to run Facebook ads for just basically like criminal law and getting more customers that way. And they were like, I want to run Facebook ads. I've done it in the past, but haven't made it work. But I'm sure you'll be able to make it work. And I
mm.
was like, look, we probably can make it work, but honestly, like where are your customers looking? Like if
Mm.
they get
Where
a
do they hang
charge,
out? Yeah.
where do they go? And he was like, oh, well, probably Google. And
They're
we're like,
not posting it on Facebook.
exactly, yeah. I wonder why.
Only the good news goes on Facebook, not the bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's super important that you kind of understand your target audience, where are they looking, and if you think that if they come across an ad on Facebook and they will be interested, then go for Facebook. But if they're actually looking somewhere else, then
Yes.
it's probably effective that you look at other options.
Yeah, and this is something that we talked about, like knowing your audience. Where do your
Yeah,
customers, where do they hang out? So I often say,
exactly.
where do they hang out? We had this conversation with CEO from Umbrella 90, and they do a lot of video production and all of that.
Mm,
We stress so much on really knowing who your audience is and that message. And
yeah,
again, is the platform that you're marketing on the best, as you
exactly
say?
right.
Um, and so, I mean, that piece itself is so important, that we do that as business owners, really know who we're talking to,
Mm,
and so that our marketing becomes more impactful.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how some business owners actually have no clue. And it's just important that you do talk to your customers. You understand what they want as a customer and what they want to achieve and what their biggest problems are.
Mm,
And if you know that, then it's actually really easy to make copy for an advertisement, and just advertising in general makes it so much easier, because if you know
mm.
their problems, then you target the ad around that problem and obviously mention the solution. And if they read the copy, if you write it in an effective way, then they'll read the copy, they'll be interested, you'll hit their pain, they'll be emotionally triggered to actually book in that call or whatever it may be, download the ebook, buy whatever product you have. So absolutely. Understanding your audience, target market is super important.
And that's when they say, "You take my money." Do, you know,
Exactly.
we'll do your magic. Excellent, excellent. All right. 3 takeaways for our audience in terms of Facebook ads. What are the 3 main things they should be considering if they're looking to run Facebook ads?
Okay, awesome. So first of all, is Facebook ads actually for you? Are your
Mm.
customers looking on Facebook? Is it the right marketing option for you? Secondly, if you're hesitant about the pricing around investing in Facebook advertising, then look at either one, an organic method, or two, downloading a Facebook pixel and letting that run for a few months so you collect data. And that way, when you do run advertisements, you are able to get a better result because you've collected that data and information about your audience. And then number three is, that's an interesting one. What would you say number three would be?
Whether you should be doing it yourself or someone else would be doing it.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Number three, find out whether you are capable of it. You're invested in spending time to learn about Facebook, or whether you'd be more comfortable with getting someone to help you out. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Hugh, for your nuggets of gold. And
That's all good.
that was great. I love Facebook ads. Big believer in being able to leverage experts in areas that you're not an expert in, um, and utilizing their time of someone else as well, so that people can focus on the things that matter most. And that's a big thing about what we do as well. So appreciate your time
That's
sharing
all
with
good.
us. If people want to get in contact with you, where will they find you? How do they get in touch with you?
Awesome. So either add me on Facebook, we can personally chat there, or you can check out our website, promotedigitalau.com, and you can check out our website, check out our clients, and book in a call there.
Excellent. Thank you. Good luck with the rest of your water fasting. And
Thank you. It's a
don't
mission.
get don't get too hangry.
I'll try.
And word of advice: if you add salt to any of your water, because it's
I
cleansing.
heard that. I heard that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we won't go into too much detail, but I, I
Himalayan salt.
suggest I suggest it's a day that you're not going out. Seeing that you're in Melbourne, you're not going out
I'm not
anyhow.
going out anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
it will have a cleansing effect in any case.
Okay, I'll
So,
try it out.
so take care. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Virtual Coffee.
Awesome. Thanks,
Cool.
guys. Thanks,
Bye.
Cheryl.